As the Clone Wars came to a devastating end with the activation of Order 66 and the Republic was dismantled by Chancellor Palpatine, he knew that some Jedi would inevitably escape his iron fist. Palpatine was terrified that a few Jedi would evade the ambush of their clone troopers and slip away into the dark corners of the galaxy where they could plot to take him down. As a result of this fear, he organized a group of ruthless Jedi Hunters known as the Inquisitorious and placed them under the command of Darth Vader. Vader then tasked them with the goal of hunting down and killing any Jedi survivors of Order 66 or any children showing signs of Force sensitivity. So who were these Inquisitors? Well, we're going to break down every single known Inquisitor in canon and their stories. So remember to subscribe and let's get into it. Number 1. The Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor is an Utapauan male and served as the highest ranking member within the Order of the Inquisitorious. He reported directly to Darth Vader and was given the most difficult and elusive Jedi to hunt down. The Grand Inquisitor has no name in canon, but he actually served as a temple guard in the Jedi Order up until the time of the Great Purge. He was actually the temple guard seen on the left here who escorted Barriss Offee to her trial in the Clone Wars Season 5 finale, after she tried to frame Ahsoka Tano for a massive attack on the Jedi Temple. After being caught as the real attacker, Barriss gave a heartfelt speech about how the Jedi Order had strayed too far from their peacekeeping roots. Having witnessed Barriss' speech to the court, the Grand Inquisitor agreed with her and became disillusioned with the Order. It was at this moment that Palpatine swooped in and preyed on the discontent within the Grand Inquisitor and swayed him to the dark side before Order 66 even went down. The Grand Inquisitor also had a deep hatred for Jedi librarian Joseras Master, as he always tried to access the Jedi archives in the deepest sections of the temple, but was refused. Palpatine used this hatred to sway the Grand Inquisitor, promising him access to the deepest levels of the Jedi archives. So when that dark day of Order 66 came, the Grand Inquisitor joined Anakin and the 501st Clone Troopers in their slaughter of the Jedi Temple. The Grand Inquisitor helped to kill the very temple guards that he served alongside not that long before. His first act in this leading role was to travel to the Jedi Temple and uncover as many names from the Jedi archives as possible. Once there, he had encountered the person he hated most, Joseras Master, who had survived the Purge. Regardless of this, Darth Vader arrived to handle the situation and began to fight the Grand Inquisitor, having no idea who he was or what his purpose was. Vader won the fight by breaking the Grand Inquisitor's lightsaber, but Palpatine eventually stepped in to stop the fight and explained what the Inquisitors were, putting Vader in charge of them. Following this, the Grand Inquisitor performed his most chilling act yet. He lured Jedi Master and survivor of Order 66, Luminara Unduli, to the galaxy's toughest prison, Stygian Prime. Once there, she was swiftly executed and a hologram was created of her to make it look like she was still living. The Grand Inquisitor then used this hologram of her to lure other surviving Jedi to the prison, including later Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger, who sought her out after Order 66. His next task, however, would be his most challenging. He was personally asked by Lord Vader to hunt down and capture Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger, who had evaded the Empire for far too long. The Grand Inquisitor had many encounters with the two, including at an Imperial Academy and on Fort Anaxis, which you might remember from the Clone Wars, eventually capturing Kanan Jarrus. Rushing to rescue Kanan, Ezra Bridger arrived on the scene but was shockingly pushed off an elevated pathway, making Kanan believe he was dead. With nothing left to fear, Kanan jeweled the Grand Inquisitor and managed to push him off of the ledge of a nearby platform. The Grand Inquisitor saved himself and managed to just hold onto the platform, but declared that there are things much more frightening than death, before letting go and plunging himself into a fiery death. He was more scared at what Vader would do to him for failing than death itself. After his death, he even became a Force ghost haunting Darth Vader. But because he was a dark side Force ghost, he had to be bound to an object and couldn't freely roam around. In the afterlife, he became an eternal slave to the dark side. Number 2. Joseras Master. This Inquisitor doesn't actually have a name, but is a woman who travelled around the galaxy hunting for Jedi to kill. On one mission, she came across a very young Dathomirian witch named Jerserra and noticed that she was very powerful in the Force. Instead of killing or capturing the young Force sensitive, which was demanded by the Inquisitor's code, she took Jerserra on as a secret dark side apprentice, training the young girl to be an Inquisitor. She did this without the knowledge of Darth Vader. And that leads us on to the next Inquisitor. Number 3. Jerserra. Jerserra was a young Dathomir witch who showed a very strong affinity to the Force from a very young age, and always hungered for great power no matter the cost to those around her. She was a member of a Night Sister tribe called the Nardithi Night Sisters. After witnessing General Grievous slaughter and kill most of her fellow Night Sisters in the horrid slaughter of Dathomir, she was left alone and in despair, being one of the only survivors along with Ventress and possibly even Morgan Elspeth. In her lowest moment, alone and afraid, a female Inquisitor landed on Dathomir in search of dark side power, but instead found Jerserra. This Inquisitor then took Jerserra on as a dark apprentice and instructed the young witch to take her clan's knowledge crystal with her to study. Jerserra then spent years training under her master and studying the clan knowledge crystal, learning many secrets of the Force. Eventually though, she became impatient, wanting to travel the stars and explore the Force rather than hunt Jedi. As a result, she stole her master's red lightsaber and killed her with it, before erasing all evidence that she existed. She even went as far as to craft evidence that it was a different Inquisitor who trained her. Finally, she went off into the galaxy with the stolen red blade and turned to a life of exploration and even the occasional bounty hunt. Number 4 and 5, Unidentified Twilight Inquisitor and Unidentified Red Inquisitor. These two both have no name, but they were inducted into the Order of the Inquisitorious in the early days of the Empire. Their first major mission came when they were sent to kill surviving Jedi Master and Council member Eth Koth. Because Koth was banished from the Jedi Order and the Council before the Clone Wars ended, he was not around any clone troopers during the Purge and was able to survive. Unfortunately though, the Inquisitors, including this unnamed Twi'lek, tracked him down to his hiding spot. At the exact moment that Vader and the Inquisitors arrived to his homestead, Eth Koth's daughter was born and Koth dueled the Dark Lord to protect her. Eth Koth failed in his fight and was brutally slaughtered by Vader. Koth's wife and daughter, however, managed to escape into a nearby city and were moments away from boarding an escape ship piloted by his wife's father. The Inquisitors though caught up to them and stopped the mother and daughter in their tracks. Koth's wife begged the Red Inquisitor woman to woman not to take her daughter from her, and shockingly, the Red Inquisitor allowed her and the baby to escape to a nearby ship. But this was just a ruse. She then ruthlessly force-pulled the baby out of the ship and escaped with her. Koth's young daughter was ultimately taken by the Inquisitors as part of Project Harvester, a project to turn young Force sensitives into Inquisitors. When the Inquisitors got back to their headquarters, the Twi'lek and Red Inquisitors began drinking together to celebrate the successful Jedi kill, forming a romantic bond. Vader, however, sensed the attachment between them, deeming the two weak because of it. Seeing this, Vader ignited his red blade and attempted to strike down the Red Inquisitor, but to his bewilderment was blocked by the Twi'lek Inquisitor. The two then sprinted out of the headquarters and led Vader on a wild chase around Coruscant until he eventually caught up to the terrified Inquisitors. In an act directly against their attachment, Vader uses the Force to make the two Inquisitors stab each other through the chest, ending them both. In their final breaths, they declare that they are finally free. Number 6, the Second Sister Trilla Suduri. Trilla was originally a member of the Jedi Order and even managed to escape Order 66. Tragically, however, her master Sia Junda left her alone when the Empire discovered their hiding place. Sia wanted to lure the Imperials away from their position to protect Trilla, but the young girl took this as a betrayal. Although she was successful in luring the Imperials away, Sia Junda was tortured and eventually revealed Trilla's hiding spot, allowing her to be captured and tortured. Not being able to handle the torture any longer, Trilla succumbed to the dark side and agreed to become an Inquisitor. This gave her the title Second Sister. Sometime later, she was sent to investigate a sighting of a possible Jedi on the scrap world of Bracca, after a young Jedi named Cal Kestis was seen saving a co-worker with the Force. Cal was eventually outed as a Jedi, leading the Inquisitors on a galactic manhunt for him. Cal was luckily saved by Trilla's old Jedi Master Sia Junda, and eventually came into possession of a holocron containing a list of the galaxy's Force-sensitive children, the most sought-after object by the Inquisitors. The Second Sister eventually stole the holocron, leading Cal and Sia to Fortress Inquisitorious on the moon Nur in the Mustafar system. Cal soon managed to steal the holocron back from Trilla, which marked a horrible failure for her, and got the attention of Darth Vader himself. Vader was so angry at her failure that he stabbed her through the back in front of Cal and her former master. In her final moments, the Second Sister turned back to the light as she reconnected with her master. Number 7, the 10th Brother Prosset Dibs. Unlike most of the other Inquisitors on this list, Prosset Dibs was actually at the rank of Master within the Jedi Order. Dibs was a member of the Miraluka species and was therefore blind, but he had a deep flowing connection with the Force. Close to the Battle of Geonosis, Mace Windu became friends with Dibs and entrusted him to accompany him on a special assignment to the planet Hisric. Dibs was happy to join, but he soon came to feel that the Jedi teachings had become too dogmatic, and that the Jedi were no longer capable of maintaining peace within the galaxy. These feelings boiled over so badly during a mission that he actually pulled out his lightsaber and fought Mace Windu, betraying his old friend. Mace tried to calm the rage-filled Jedi Master, telling him that they were essentially brothers in the Force as they were both Jedi. Windu eventually got the upper hand and pushed Dibs to the floor, and was moments away from ending the Master's life with his purple lightsaber, but instead he chose to let the Council decide his fate, something he would not do with Palpatine years later. Dibs was eventually found guilty of treason for his attempt to kill Mace Windu, and was about to be sentenced to death, but Mace surprisingly asked the Council to spare his life. As a result, he was placed on probation and sent to work in the Jedi Archives. Knowing his tendency for the dark side, Palpatine recruited him when Order 66 arrived, and he was soon given the title 10th Brother by the Grand Inquisitor. He was then sent to the planet Mon Cala to capture a small sect of surviving Jedi who were students to Jedi Padawan Ferren Bar, but things went horribly wrong. Ferren Bar mind-tricked the clone Purge troopers who were with the 10th Brother, declaring Order 66 again, which triggered their inhibitor chips, leading them to turn on and kill the 10th Brother. Number 8, the 9th Sister Masana Tide. After surviving Order 66, the 9th Sister was isolated and tortured by the Empire until she cracked, turning her to the dark side. She was eventually recruited into the Inquisitorious program and given the title the 9th Sister. During her training with Darth Vader, however, she lost one of her eyes, teaching her a lesson about loss. The Ninth Sister was also present on Mon Cala when Padawan Ferren Bar activated Order 66 for the second time, but she was strong enough to fight back against the Purge Troopers and escape to live another day. She was later part of the hunt for Cal Kestis, where the two got into a fierce duel on Kashyyyk. Cal managed to chop one of her hands off, but because of her training for loss with Darth Vader, she didn't mind and continued fighting Cal. Kestis eventually managed to force push the Ninth Sister away in defeat, but her death is not yet confirmed. Number 9. The Sixth Brother Bil Valen. Bil Valen was inducted into the Inquisitorious after the fall of the Empire, turning from the Jedi way to the dark side. He was also on the mission to Mon Cala against Ferren Bar and performed well in Vader's eyes. He was one of the only Inquisitors respected enough to duel with the Dark Lord, but that came at a price. Vader took his left arm. Not long after this, the Grand Inquisitor alerted him about a possible sighting of a Jedi survivor on the remote farming moon of Rada in the Outer Rim. When he got there, he was shocked to find out that the claims were true, and that the survivor was Ahsoka Tano, the legendary Jedi who left the Order before the Clone Wars ended. The Sixth Brother tracked Ahsoka down and fought her in the streets, but Ahsoka absolutely obliterated him, defeating him with only her bare hands and exploding his 2 red lightsabers. The explosions instantly killed the Sixth Brother on the streets of Rada. This left only his 2 red kyber crystals behind. Ahsoka then took these 2 crystals and purified them in the Force, which is where she got her white lightsabers. Number 10. The Eighth Brother. The Eighth Brother was a member of the Tyrellian Django Jumper species and was the Inquisitor sent directly after Darth Maul after his disappearance. The Eighth Brother managed to track him down to the Sith world of Malachor, but was surprisingly confronted by Ahsoka Tano, Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger while there. They then teamed up with Maul to fight the Eighth Brother, and he knew he was outmatched. As a result, he tried to fly away from the fight with his spinning lightsaber, but the weapon was damaged by Maul during the fight. Because of this, it broke, and he quickly fell to his death. Number 11. The Seventh Sister. The Seventh Sister was known as one of the weaker Inquisitors, possibly even being a Padawan when she was still a Jedi. Regardless, she was strong enough to survive Order 66 before eventually being captured and turned into an Inquisitor with the title of the Seventh Sister. She was given the primary goal of hunting down Ezra Bridger and Kanan Jarrus while they were active, and eventually followed them to Malachor, where she took part in the fighting between Maul, Ahsoka and Kanan. The Myrialan Inquisitor was eventually defeated and lifted into the air with the Force by Maul, who then commanded that Ezra strike her down with his lightsaber. Ezra couldn't bring himself to do it, but Maul had no such problem. He immediately hurled his lightsaber into her, killing her immediately. Her body was split in half and fell down the nearby cliff face. Number 12. The Fifth Brother. The Fifth Brother served right alongside the Seventh Sister, being assigned the targets of Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger. He was considered one of the weaker Inquisitors, even less skilled than Kanan. The Fifth Brother also developed a fear of Maul, who was nicknamed the Shadow by the Inquisitors. This was because he was known as an Inquisitor killer before he was stranded on Malachor, having presumably slaughtered many. Just like her, he followed the 2 Jedi to Malachor, where he got into an intense fight with Maul. Ahsoka was able to damage his lightsaber, causing him to drop it, allowing Maul to sweep in and cleave him through the stomach, killing him on the spot. Number 13. The Fourth Sister. Absolutely nothing is known about this Inquisitor apart from her title and the fact that she wields a lightsaber pike, rather than a standard spinning Inquisitor blade. On top of this, we know that she was captured and probably executed by the Rebel Alliance, who then stole her armor and weapons. This gear was then used by a young rebel who impersonated her to infiltrate Darth Vader's fortress on Mustafar. Number 14. The Third Sister. We obviously know nothing about the Third Sister yet, other than that her name is Reva, but we do know that she will be a major part of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I'll make an updated version of this video once we know her story. Number 15. Unidentified Twilight Inquisitor. This Inquisitor is the one from the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, and we know absolutely nothing about her, other than that she is hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi. Her species might not even be Twilight, but it does look that way from the trailer. There's a theory that if she is Twilight, she may even be Katuni from the Padawan arc of the Clone Wars. So that is every single Inquisitor that we currently know of in canon, with some big stories yet to come from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed these stories, and make sure you subscribe for more, and a whole lot more Kenobi content. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.